We are off, and we're going to start with Manchester United because we're talking about Joshua Xerxes. Can you give us an update on him, please, and how those potential negotiations are getting on?
Yeah, obviously we know Manchester United are in the market for a new striker this summer. That's been well publicised, and it does seem that Xerxes from Bologna is emerging as their top target right now. Obviously, he's had a very good season in Italy with Bologna, helping them qualify for the Champions League. A lot of clubs have been looking at Xerxes. It looked like AC Milan were in the box seat to sign him, but that deal seems to have stalled, and that's opened the door for Manchester United to try and bring the Dutch international to the Premier League. Arsenal have also shown a bit of interest as well. I'm not sure he's top of Arsenal's list, but it does seem Manchester United are now progressing ahead with a possible move for Xerxes, who has been highly rated for a long time. He was at Bayern Munich as a youngster, didn't really work out from there, but he's found his feet at Bologna, and as I said, he got that late call up to the Dutch national team as well for the Euros after a few injuries to players as well. The key here for Manchester United is that there is a release clause in his contract of around 40 million euros, which isn't a massive fee in the current market. So he ticks a lot of boxes for United, a young player who's got huge potential, still only 23 as well. And as I said, Erik ten Hag will know all about him, being a fellow Dutchman as well. So yeah, United looking like they might go ahead with this Xerxes deal if they can get a deal agreed with his representatives. As I said, the release clause shouldn't be too many problems to United. But as we've spoken on the pod before, I think United are working within a restricted budget in this summer transfer window as well. So Xerxes definitely fits under that criteria as well, rather than spending big money on a real marquee number 9.
Paul, what does that mean for the likes of, say, Marcus Rashford in that team? And do you think that would result, if Joshua Xerxes does come in, does that then result in a top name leaving Old Trafford potentially?
I think there's going to have to be some departures from Old Trafford because it's not been good enough this season, has it? I mean, I've said for a long time I didn't think Erik ten Hag was going to be there, and I'm very, very surprised that he is still there. The way that he's been undermined publicly and the public search for a manager has continued, and then obviously the talk of him getting a new contract, you just wonder what input he's having on transfers. And obviously the structure in behind at Manchester United now, they will be doing the lion's share of the recruitment. That there are going to have to be changes, whether it's Marcus Rashford, whether it's others at the club, but there are going to have to be outgoings. You know, we talk all the time about the FFP and the PSR, etc. Manchester United are not exempt from that, but somebody like Marcus Rashford, I think it's Erik ten Hag hasn't got the best out of him. He has done sporadically at times this season. The game away at Wolves, I thought it was excellent in the first half. There's been 2 or 3 times this season where he's shown the form that we know that he's capable of, which is why at times he gets criticised because he's set the bar so high for himself. Does he need a change? Does he need to move away, a fresh start from his own club? You know, Manchester United's been there for a long time. And sometimes a fresh start does that for you. Personally, I think it wouldn't be a bad thing for him to move on. I wouldn't see it as a backward step in his career because there'll be a lot of suitors around Europe that will take Marcus Rashford. And I think maybe that new challenge might just reignite him again. We know what type of player he is. Somebody like Xerxes coming in will obviously be direct competition for Rashford in those wide areas. And it just depends where the manager sees him playing. But actually, from Marcus Rashford's point of view, I don't think a fresh start and a change would be a bad thing for him. Obviously, Erik ten Hag hasn't got the best out of him this season.
And Pete, it sounds like United are also targeting a midfielder going into the summer potentially. Are there any names on that list, please, that they've been talking about, or there are rumours going on that they might try and sign?
Yeah, obviously we know that United are going to be probably restructuring that midfield. The engine room did let them down on a number of occasions last season. Obviously, Kobe Manu was a great find for them last season coming into the team, and he really stepped up and had a good season for the club, getting that call up to the England squad as well for the Euros. The latest name on the list seems to be Edson Alvarez from West Ham, which I don't think too many West Ham fans will be happy with. Again, it's another link between Ten Hag and a former Ajax player that he worked with. Obviously, he's not had a lot of success with that, having brought in Anthony from Ajax, and that move's been a disaster by everybody's sort of idea that Anthony's just been a waste of money, really, since he's made that move to Old Trafford. But Alvarez, good player. I thought he had a good season for West Ham last year, a good solid defensive midfielder. He can get around the pitch. He likes to stick his foot in as well, and he's not bad on the ball either as well. So I think if Man United are able to offload Casemiro this summer, that will save a lot of money on the wage bill and maybe bring in a big transfer fee as well. So he will need replacing. Alvarez is one name that's been linked. João Neves of Benfica is another one that United have been credited with an interest in, but Benfica are working hard to keep hold of him. He's touted as the next big thing to come out of Portugal as well, but he's got a huge release clause in his contract of £70 million plus, and I don't think United can get to those figures in this summer transfer window as well. So they might have to look at Neves further down the line over the next couple of transfer windows. But yeah, for Erik ten Hag, like Paul's mentioned there, it's going to be interesting to see what input he does have on transfers, because I think under the new Ineos setup, Jason Wilcox, Dan Ashworth, when he finally arrives, they're going to be having major impacts on United's transfer policy, and I don't see Ten Hag maybe having as much control as he previously had.
And Pete, to pick up on that then, how much would Edson Alvarez cost the club potentially? What would they be looking at if they were going to sign him?
Well, yeah, I don't think West Ham want to lose him, so they will demand a big fee for the Mexican international. I think they paid around 20 to 25 million for him to sign him from Ajax, so they'll be looking at least 40 million or plus, I think, for Alvarez. As I said, he's had that good first year in the Premier League. He's settled into English football without any problems as well. And as I said, I think West Ham will try and price Manchester United out of a move for Alvarez, as they won't really want to lose such a key player for next season, with Julian Lopetegui taking charge of his first season at the London Stadium as well. But I'm sure for Alvarez, if there's any interest from Manchester United, it'll definitely be flattering, and the chance to link up with Ten Hag again is probably something that might appeal to him as well. So yeah, it's going to be one to watch, maybe that one there in this window. And
Paul, to pick up on a different player, can you sort of give us the news, please, about Amad Diallo's new role at the club, and actually how integral could he become next season, do you think, for Manchester United?
Well, he could be, obviously. The support that the managers obviously showed him, the faith that the managers showed in him. There's going to be a kind of a mini rebuild at Manchester United, isn't there? Obviously, with players coming and going. I mean, he's still such a young player. Had a couple of decent loans, but I think he'll come into the side, and he could well play a lot more, obviously, than he did this season. As a winger coming off the right, off the left, he can play off either side. He's a player that's obviously one for the future for Manchester United, and if they're restructuring and looking that way, then he's going to have a big say in things going forward.
You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.